saw him as a great soldier and a wily politician who 1,600 years later, as a George Bernard Shaw, the greatest dramatist of our time, who saw Caesar as a wise and disenchanted old man. This program is about these four views of Caesar. And we begin it with the great Roman's view of himself.
The Nervii were a fierce and warlike people and vowed they would never sue for peace nor accept it on any terms. I sent my cavalry a little in advance and followed with the rest of my forces. The Nervii had retired into a wood. We began to construct a camp. Suddenly they appeared in full force and swept down on my cavalry. I had everything to do at once. Hoist a flag, form a battle line, instruct the men, and sound the trumpet signal for going into action. My soldiers were so pushed for time, they couldn't even take the covers from their shields or put on helmets. I made my way to the front. My coming slowed the enemy's assault. Even some of the Roman soldiers who had fallen down exhausted, bleeding from their wounds, rose and began to fight again, leaning on their shields. And so we won this battle. On hearing news of it, the Nervii's old men sent envoys to me and surrendered.
Mighty Caesar. Mighty Caesar, we are conquered. Have mercy. Have mercy. Of 60,000 fighting men, only 500 have survived. Of 600 tribal leaders, only 3 are alive. Mercy on us, Caesar.
I will protect you from harm. I will secure the safety of your persons and possessions against your neighbors. Thus it is written in Caesar's commentaries.
Of course it is thus written in the commentaries. Ye gods, what was I to do? I had just finished slaughtering 5,500 men. Anyway, what would you expect me to write about myself? Who wishes to be considered as less than merciful? The commentaries served a purpose, a political purpose. Plutarch understood this. I won't say he knew more about me than I knew about myself, but I will say that he told more about me than I told about myself. Listen to Plutarch. Caesar was born to do great things, and he had a passion after honor. Now, this is me in Spain, as Plutarch reported. I'm crying. Do you consider that I have not just cause to weep when I realize that Alexander at my age had conquered so many nations, and I, in all this time, have done nothing that is memorable? It's true. I was enormously ambitious. I was a wily, calculating chap. No doubt about it. Listen. Caesar was profuse in his expenses. By his great liberality in theatrical shows, in processions and public feastings, he gained the people's favor, and everyone was eager to find offices and honors for him. It was a simple political investment, don't you see? Not only that, But I arranged to have Pompey marry my daughter Julia. It worked very well until Julia died. I was very upset about that. I loved Julia, but I did not love Pompey. He had his friends in the Senate demand that I disband my Gallic legions or be declared an enemy of the state. Plutarch describes the manner in which I financed my successful campaign against Pompey.
I am Metellus, the tribune. The laws prohibit anyone from taking money from the public treasury without proper justification.
And I am Caesar. And there is a time for laws and a time for arms. The keys to the treasury.
Would you defy the law, Caesar? Would you have it said that Caesar respects not the law?
I am being generous. You and all others who have appeared against me are in my power to be treated as I please.
I protest in the name of the government.
If you cause any more disturbance, I will have you put to death. And know this, young man, it is harder for me to have to say that than it is to do it. I won the war against Pompey. I revised the laws and the calendar. I started magnificent public works. And then they assassinated me. My dear friends, Plutarch tells you why. That which brought upon Caesar the most apparent and mortal hatred was his desire of being king. Exactly.
As you have seen, Caesar, according to Plutarch, was a callous and brilliant politician. Caesar, according to Shakespeare, disagrees with that estimation.
How vile, how contemptible to reduce my greatness and my genius to such a base motive. Only the greatest poet could understand the greatest man. Plutarch was fit to be my menial, for him to take my name as an affront. Shakespeare knew my stature. Plutarch says that I was hated for wanting to be king, the fool. I was king. To be Caesar was to be king. Watch. Nor heaven nor earth hath been at peace tonight. Thrice in her sleep hath Calpurnia cried out, "Help ho! They murder Caesar."
Oh! What mean you, Caesar? Think you to walk forth? You shall not stir out of your house today.
Caesar shall fall. The things that threaten me ne'er look but upon my back. When they shall see the face of Caesar, they'll vanish.
Caesar, I never stood on ceremonies, yet now they fright me. A lioness hath whelped in the streets, and graves have yawned and yielded up their dead. Fierce, fiery warriors fought upon the clouds, in ranks and squadrons and right form of war, which drizzled blood upon the Capitol. The noise of battle hurtled in the air, horses did neigh, and dying men did groan, and ghosts did shriek and squeal about the streets. Oh, Caesar, these things are beyond all use, and I do fear them.
Cowards die many times before their death. The valiant never tasted death but once. Of all the wonders that I ever yet have heard, it seems to me most strange that men should fear, seeing that death, a necessary end, will come when it will come. Such a man was Caesar. Unique, fearless, kingly. I would not have wept because I was not Alexander. I would not show mercy unless there were grounds for mercy. Watch me in the Senate on a certain fateful day. The senators are pleading with me to end the banishment of Publius Cimber.
Most high, most mighty, and most powerful was Caesar.
I must prevent these, Cimber. These couchings and these lowly courtesies might fire the blood of ordinary men. But I am constant as the northern star, of whose true fixed and resting place there is no fellow in the firmament. The skies are painted with unnumbered sparks. They are all fire, and every one doth shine. But there's but one in all doth hold his place. So in the world. 'Tis furnished well with men, and men are flesh and blood and apprehensive. Yet in the number I do know but one who unassailable holds on his rank unshaked of motion, and that I am he. That was Caesar, a man above men.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Oh, that is awfully good, awfully good. But if you don't mind, why don't we show the people what happened less than a minute after he made that overbearing last speech? Well, of course, if I were the stuffed toga that Shakespeare made me out, I can't say that I blame them. Now, granted, Shakespeare was a great poet, but only a great dramatist could catch the meaning, the quality of my genius. And you know what Shaw thought of Shakespeare as a dramatist. Yes, well, that's another argument, isn't it? After defeating Pompey at Pharsalia, I pursued him into Egypt. Now, mark, my true genius as Shaw saw it. The man on the left is Pothinus, guardian of King Ptolemy, Cleopatra's younger brother. The other man is Lucius Septimus, a Roman, formerly in Pompey's service.
Bear witness, Lucius Septimus. Caesar came hither in pursuit of his foe. Did we shelter his foe?
As Pompey's foot touched the Egyptian shore, his head fell by the stroke of my sword.
Under the eyes of his wife and child, remember that, Caesar. We have given you a full and sweet measure of vengeance.
Vengeance?
Our gift to you is the head of your rival for the empire of the world. Is it not so?
It is so. With this hand that slew Pompey, I placed his head at Caesar's feet.
Murderer, so would you have slain Caesar had Pompey been victorious.
Woe to the vanquished, Caesar. When I served Pompey, I slew as good men as he, only because he had conquered them. His turn came at last.
The deed was not yours, Caesar, but ours. Thanks to us, you keep your reputation for clemency and have your vengeance, too.
Vengeance. Vengeance. Oh, if I could stoop to vengeance, what would I not exact from you as the price of this man's blood? Was he not my son-in-law, my ancient friend? For 20 years, the monarch of mighty Rome, did I not, as a Roman, share his glory, Am I Julius Caesar? Or am I a wolf? That you think in me the gray head of this soldier, this laurel conqueror Pompey, and then claim my gratitude? God, you fill me with horror.
You have seen severed heads before, Caesar. And severed right hands, too, I think. Some thousands of them. In Gaul, after you vanquished Vercingetorix. Did you spare the noble Vercingetorix, you with all your noble clemency? Was not this vengeance?
No, by the gods, would that it had been! Vengeance, at least, is human. Oh, what a fool was I then. To think that men's lives should be at the mercy of such fools. Lucius Septimus, pardon. Why should the slayer of Vercingetorix rebuke the slayer of Pompey? You're free to go. You see, I stood above the men around me, not because I was more than human, but because I was more human. How can a great man be an arrant ass or a petty politician? Cleopatra speaks of me as I really was.
Cleopatra, what they tell me is true. You are changed.
Do you speak with Caesar every day for 6 months, and you will be changed?
It is the common talk that you are infatuated with this old man.
Infatuated? What does that mean? Made foolish, is it not? Oh, no. I wish I were.
You wish you were made foolish? How so?
When I was foolish, I did what I liked. Now that Caesar has made me wise, it's no use my liking or disliking. I do what must be done, and have no time to attend to myself. That is not happiness, but greatness.
Does Caesar not love you?
Love me? Pothinus, Caesar loves no one. Who are those we love? Only those whom we do not hate. All people are strangers and enemies to us except those we love. But it is not so with Caesar. He has no hatred in him. He makes friends with everyone as he does with dogs and children. His kindness to me is a wonder. Neither father, mother, nor nurse have ever taken so much care for me, or thrown open their thoughts to me so freely.
Well, is this not love?
What? When he will do as much for the first girl he meets on his way back to Rome? Ask his slave. He's been just as good to him. Nay, ask his very horse. His kindness is not for anything in me. It is in his own nature.
But how can you be sure he does not love you, as men love women?
Because I cannot make him jealous. I have tried.
I do not understand this man.
You understand Caesar? How could you?
Yes, how could he? You see, most men could not understand Caesar, and they still don't.
And so, who was Caesar? Was he the conquering general, the arrogant dictator, the cunning politician, or the wise and humane old man? At different times and to different people, he was all of those things. History, after all, is an interpretation of the past. It is not the past itself. Each generation brings to history its own interpretations, and all we can be sure of is that the historians and artists of the future will continue to preserve the memory of Caesar through their own scholarship and their own genius. Today we have seen 4 views of Caesar. The future will bring still others.